That's cool. Real cool. Good morning, everyone. All right, another beautiful day in beautiful Boulder, Colorado. You know, you're beginning to see more and more people moving out here to Boulder because it's getting such a great introduction by everybody who wants to get away from all the difficulties, the fires and the droughts and all the things that are taking place. And Boulder's like this place that was just everybody's happy and healthy. Aren't we all happy, healthy? Okay. Well, you're going to have a beautiful time today listening to Cintisha. Is there anybody here for the first time? Okay. Keep your hand up. We have a gift for you down on this end, over on that aisle. We have somebody over here. Okay. Keep your hand up so we can get these gifts to you. All right. Cintisha was out of the pulpit last week, so she had to go a whole week without speaking. So you're going to get an inspired talk today. Look forward to it.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of Boulder. Those of you who are joining us here in-house and those of you who are joining us online, thanks for spending some time here at Unity of Boulder. I've got a few announcements of upcoming events here. We have our annual Halloween party that is going to be October 27th. That's a Sunday evening from 5 to 7. Everyone is welcome, children from anywhere. If you have neighbors' kids or nephews or nieces, and you're looking for a fun, free, safe thing to do for Halloween, a good chance to get them to show off their costumes. It's such a fun event. That's October 27th. We are still looking for volunteers because there's going to be a lot of games and things like that, face painting, all kinds of stuff. If you'd like to run a table or something, please let us know. We're always looking for a few more volunteers for that, and you can let any of us in the office know about that. Next, this seems a little early, but we do our annual holiday wreath fundraiser every year, and we're already starting our pre-orders for them. We have to pre-order them. It ends November 5th. These are absolutely wonderful wreaths. They last forever. They smell amazing. We just asked for a $45 donation, as it is a fundraiser for Unity of Boulder, so definitely you can order those right here in the bookstore. You could call us during the week, and we can get you set up with that as well. I'm skipping the next announcement, Cassie. And last but not least, today we are having a potluck following this service right over here in Fellowship Hall. Everyone is invited. Even if you don't have a dish to share, please come join us. We always have a great time hanging out, chatting, and eating following this service. All right, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity today. This is the point in our service, which is a call to prayer, an opportunity to put prayers out for loved ones or friends that need prayers at this time. There are sheets of paper in the pews in front of you. You can write their names down, and you don't have to put what the issue is. We know that Spirit knows what we need before we even ask. And really what we're doing is we're aligning ourselves in the unification with this Christ potential within us, connecting with that potential within them, and sending prayers through our own high vibrational healing. So we invite you to do that, and it's perfectly fine to write your own name on that piece of paper. This is Steve Sheets. He's the head of our prayer partners, and he will come down this aisle and collect the names and put them in the prayer box, and they'll be prayed over for a month here, and then they'll go off to Unity Village, and at Silent Unity they'll be prayed over for an additional 30 days. But we like to sing this song just to come in the presence. They say to sing is to pray twice. We invite you to join us, and we have Rebecca joining us this time, and Norma over here.
Long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure
Beautiful singing. Thanks for singing with us. Consider ourselves prayed in here. Let's invite the entertainment club up, and we're going to sing a joy song, and we're going to ask you to all stand and sing with us. way to finish that. Okay. While we're standing, let's say thank you, God, for this beautiful town. And let's turn and meet one another and get each other's names and make new friends today. Oh, thank you, God, for you. Thank you, God, for you.
Thank you, God, for you, Lavinia. All right. Now we'd like to welcome today's special music guest artist today. I'm sure you all recognize her. This is Rebecca Abraxas. But Rebecca doesn't just do our special guest music. Every third Friday here at Unity of Boulder, downstairs in the meditation room, she does what she calls an illuminated sound experience. Everyone's welcome to attend. It's $20 if you sign up beforehand, or $25 at the door. All you have to do is show up. You don't have to sign up. But she will take you to places every third Friday of the month that you're not going to go anywhere else without Rebecca Abraxas here. Take it away, Rebecca.
Oh, that's a tall order. All right. Be where you are. Find the flower in it all. The bloom and the blossom. Rest in the beauty of eyes open to see. The bloom and the blossom rest in the beauty of eyes, of your eyes open to see. Be where you are. Find the flower in it all. The blue and the blossom rest in the beauty of eyes, your eyes open to rest in the beauty of your eyes open to see. Be where you are. Find the flower in it all. The bloom and the blossom rest in the beauty of eyes open to see.
Thank you, Rebecca. What a haunting way to start. Wow. Talk about coming into the presence and tuning into a vibration that helps us be more open and receptive to being the greatest versions of ourselves. And my talk is really about that today. My talk title today is I Am as Close to You as Breath. What you hear has a great deal to do with what is already present in your mind. Each person who opens to my voice will hear it according to your own perceptions and preconceptions. That is inevitable. The desire to communicate with me is essential to opening the door to my presence. I will not force myself upon anyone. The relationship with me is voluntary and must be initiated by each person when they are ready. I am as close to you as you would have me be. That is because I am already a thought within your mind, and everything that I am proceeds from that thought, just as everything which is not me proceeds from a different thought. This you must learn through experience. Some claim that I speak through them, yet they are listening to a different voice. My voice never condemns or makes fearful. My intention is to bless everyone. I would have each of you know once and for all that you are not guilty except in your own mind, and that imagined guilt can and must be undone. My teaching is a simple one. I am thought without limitation, for I am ever expanding into the formlessness of God. There is no form that can contain me. I have joined with God in perfect forgiveness. I am free of guilt. I am free of grievances. I do not believe that I can be wronged, nor do I believe that I have the power to wrong another. For I know without a doubt that every being has equality in God. The love of Jesus, Krishna, Buddha, and all the ascended masters surround us in our single prayer. It gently nurtures the spark in our hearts, and it's as simple as your breath, and that breath is of God. This excerpt is written by Paul Farini in a book called Love Without Conditions, which I would highly recommend. If you're in a place where you're trying to find a deeper connection with this limitless, no physicality, no nothing, a wisdom that moves in and through our experience. And what he's saying, it's directed by our own thoughts and what we've created about what this limitless energy is, right? And so we can make it a wonderful, beautiful, abundant resource to move in and through every aspiration and dream that we hold. And when we hold our minds in this beautiful place of willingness and openness, our dreams are carried into the ethers and they're brought upon us in our lives. But when we question whether we can access this life force energy, this miracle working energy, it's called the ether of the universe. It is something that can transform any limitation we hold within ourselves in this moment. The second that we allow it to have life in us, because it is as close as breath. This is another passage from the same book, and he writes, "Do not mistake of thinking that any reflection of the Christ mind seeks anything other than the establishment of the kingdom of love in our minds and hearts. That is its single goal. Mahavir works for this. St. Francis works for this. The Baal Shem Tov works for this. Rumi works for this. Divisions into religions are relics of this world. Such boundaries do not exist in the Christ mind, where all beings join in a single goal. It is hard for us to imagine this, but it is so." So really what that's saying is that all paths that lead to God, to this limitless love and energy. Huh? You can't hear me? Okay. My mama still looks out for me. It's very good. It's very sweet. So it really doesn't matter the road that leads us to God, that each one is good, regardless. So this limitless energy likes diversity. It likes inclusivity. It likes strange. It likes that all these different roads, whatever it calls to our own spirit, because it shows us our unification on whatever life we were raised in. We're all different from the upbringings we have, but we all have something in common, and that thing that's in common is wanting to have a greater understanding of this mystery and how it applies in our lives and how we can bring this kind of peace, more love, more abundance, more, enjoyment and laughter into this life. We want more of that goodness, more of that heartfelt yumminess of life, and we want it accessible in all areas of our lives, not just in some areas of our lives. And we might have areas where we're feeling that beautiful flow and feeling that energy moving in and through, but we have to also be able to bring it into those more stuck, more rigid places in ourselves. So maybe we should bring that up in our mind right now. Some area where we're feeling some rigidity and having a hard time having this kind of love, this kind of limitless abundance, this opulent force that wants to move in and through, kind of witnessing within oneself that egoic part of us that doesn't believe we can bring this accessibly to this area of our life where we're feeling stuck, where we're feeling pushed up against, where we're feeling like somewhere our good is behind us versus in the midst of us. Right? The more we can actually go within and listen for those quiet prompts, those spiritual prompts of beauty and love, the more we can go in there and reach it from the quiet place. Well, if you just take 10 minutes a day in silence, just 10 minutes a day in silence, and keep your schedule out of that. Keep everything out of this. Play beautiful, melodic, gorgeous music, or even a guided meditation. Just doing that for 30 days, you will watch yourself moving the stuck energy in those areas of your life where you feel like you're not being able to move through. Right? They say when you're going through hell, you have to keep going. But a lot of us restrict and we become rigid. And you know that a sign of emotional maturity is adaptability, that it's a free form moving towards things that might really scare us, and we don't lock up and build a wall between us and it, that we have to visit those caverns within oneself that might have been hurt or broken or fearful, that doesn't want to have to face these internal pains and discords, but within those experiences are the answers to the next phase of eternal life here and now. And this life is a school. And just the right difficult things are put up into our life throughout it to deepen us, to keep recognizing that the presence of God is within us. The presence of heaven is within us. And the presence of hell is within us. Right? And all of it has to do with what we're saying to ourselves, what we're saying to others, what we're believing about self, and what we're believing about others. So Paul Ferrini talks about his experience when he was writing this book, and he says this: "When I began to work on this book, I brought to it the same degree of surrender which I had brought to previous books, that however was not enough. In quiet recognition, I put aside approximately 150 pages of good material. It simply wasn't the book that needed to be birthed at this time in my life. Something new was being asked of me, and I was asking something new of my teacher, my higher mind, my Christ consciousness. Through this process, I learned to live thought by thought. Letting this book come from my Christ mind meant making an adjustment in all areas of my life. It required not so much a change in my writing style or process, but a fundamental shift in my belief systems, removing the ideas that give rise to perceptions and feelings of separation. I had to become my daily spiritual practice. I had to become my daily spiritual practice. And this is the kind of thing that we will find when we go into silence, that we realize that we're wanting a different result in our life, but we keep going about it with the same thoughts held in mind. We keep going about it with our history report of how things always work out, so we just keep creating it to work out the same way. And it's in that silence that gives us the adaptability and the patience to wait. In the Course in Miracles, they call it the holy moment, the holy pause. And that holy pause might last days or even weeks, being in the presence until there is an evokement, there is an awokement, there is an awakening oh, this is what I've been affirming from this subconscious place in me. And that's why I keep getting this result. There's something else that's being birthed, because like the universe said in that first part is, I want to do good for you. I want your life to be amazing. And when we feel cut off from this energy, it's not that God's cut off from us. We are cut off from this divine source, this divine force. So I received an email from someone, and I won't mention her name this week, but this paragraph stood out to me today, or this week. She wrote, "My new job is awesome, and I just got a promotion, which is crazy and totally unexpected. I tell you, when you get on the Unity prayer list, you certainly got to be prepared for some blessings." Right? And I remember a few months ago, this person was in real turmoil between jobs and trying to find her way again in a competitive world in the work she was seeking. She's a little younger than me, but not at an age when you want to start all over, and she was. And this is just an example of when we go into prayer, when we go into silence, and when we get into that prayer box, you're getting multiple people praying for you. Every single Wednesday night, you're being prayed over. Our prayer team prays for you a couple times a week in a circle. All those names go with them, and they sit in prayer, holding this place of energy. And it's not changing God. It's bringing that higher vibration that connects to you, and is reminding your soul in a collective that we're all one, that we help each other, we inspire each other to heighten our consciousness. We don't have to go this alone. We are just a seed when it's just us. But as a collective, we are a golden beam of light. We are a force to be reckoned with. And we have to remember that's why this is so important, to have spiritual community. Somebody said, I don't like to do the I am. You know, they say that's the most powerful word for God. I am this. He wrote a book on we are this. And I really resonated with that. When we realize the I am is putting us in that God place, I am prosperous, I am loved, I am. But what about the collective, all of us being able to be in the presence of all that together? We are one. So when you feel so isolated and you feel like you're not getting the support that you need from this universe, sometimes you have to get around other spiritual, like-minded people and be mirrored this kind of power, this kind of light back to you. And it's not weak to be asking for that help, to ask for help and to come to a spiritual center to bask in this kind of light and love. It is brave, and it does take you to step out of your comfort zone. But those of you that are watching us online and you're here in Boulder, Colorado, I want to invite you to come and join in the vibration that's circulating in this auditorium, this holy home. Because it's not the same just living on the computers trying to feel this life force energy, this oneness, this collective consciousness that happens right here. The desire to communicate with me is essential to opening the door to my presence. I will not force myself upon anyone. The relationship with me is voluntary and must be initiated by each person when they are ready. Ultimately, the end of suffering comes when we decide together that we have suffered enough. The end of suffering comes when we've decided that they have suffered enough. Who's suffered enough? Yeah. I mean, we hate that word, but when we're out of balance and when we're not in this divine homeostasis in a state of power and light and love, it is suffering. When you're pushing up against things that feel so out of your own consciousness, but yet you don't realize that inside of that discord, that imbalance is a key to open up to the next expression of your living here. Because we're growing. And if you have a lot of things coming in and you're like, there's so much going on right now. What an amazing opportunity. What a great unfoldment is going to come on the other side of this, right? When we change our perspective, when we change how we look at it, we get out of victim, we realize that everybody goes through this. Some people do have easier lives than others. The best thing is to never ask why yours is harder than someone else, because you're never going to know. But what I do know, because I have had some very difficult times, this has not been an easy lifetime for me, I love where I stand in my life because of all of those overcomings. I see through a lens that understands the majesty of this miraculous. And I never would have ever seen through it if I hadn't suffered as deeply as I have. And all your great wisdom keepers and the people that stand before you and speak of the spiritual self, I'm no different than you. I am you. And you are me. And I'm in a phase right now that things are going well. And you know what that means? I better just keep flowing. Because the one thing we can count on is what? Change, right? Okay. A friend of mine, Sue Frederick, who's a really well-known author, she gave these words to me about a year ago, and she said, "We don't attract by will anymore. We attract what is needed by surrender." So when you think of the big, the last 15 years, it was all the law of attraction. Think and have, think it, visualize it and have. It was all like we were willing this whole other world to happen through will, and it worked for a while. Because it was kind of like beginner bubblegum spirituality, right? It gets you kind of hooked because you're like, whoa, that really worked. But then it has to go deeper. And it's gone deeper. And then when you get you see COVID, and we all collectively grew through the COVID isolation. We all found what was actually really important. We discovered what really mattered. And now we want to think and have, and we're saying, why is it so dense in this world? And why is it so hard to move this energy? Why can't I just think about something and have it attract? And we realize that now it isn't attraction through will, it's attraction through surrender. Right? It's another phase. It's a deepened phase. When you're trying to attract something that you want, it's normal to want to control how your desire comes to you. We think we know the best way, the quickest way, the way that will benefit us the most, but the universe always has a plan for beyond what we could imagine. So how do you truly surrender? Here's an example. Let's say you want to find a new place to live. You want something close to the mountains, 2 bedrooms, and you want to move in 3 months. You ask the universe when you're in a positive state of mind, to help make this happen. You visualize yourself in the perfect new home. You start acting as if you already have it, and you really believe that it's going to happen in the best way possible, and that you're worthy and deserving. And now you have to surrender. First of all, the universe has heard you. Stop repeating yourself if you think that you didn't say it correctly the first time. Don't become a beggar, all right? The universe has heard you. You don't need to ask again just in case the universe was busy while you're asking. Remember that the universe is made up of energy, and we are connected to this source energy. So really, all we need to do is match its frequency by raising our vibration, making it almost impossible not to attract certain things that lie on that same frequency. Does that make sense? And so today, I was talking to somebody that's in our entertainment group, and she just told me, I sold my house. And she's been waiting for months, and she didn't even have a showing of her house for a month and a week. Not one person walked through that house. And she already has a home she's moving to in California, and the time was now like, it's not happening, and she got in that negativity, and she got into that fear, because she's ready to go to this next project. But when she saw my sermons a few weeks ago, where I had that frequency graph of where you're attracting from, she realized she was in those lower chakra frequencies, so she started living in the home in California, and being there, and being in a gratitude place. And then, sure enough, a neighbor came over, looked at the house, and bought it. Right? This is the truth. It's us that stands in the way of these wonderful things, but we can get into the old frequencies, the lower frequencies, so much easier, because we've practiced that our whole life. They say to make something change, you have to do it for 21 days. Go into 10 minutes of meditation and be in that place of receiving that which you've put out to the universe you're ready for. And just be there and bask it, feel it, live it, get in gratitude for it, and leave it, and don't look at it anymore. The universe got it, right? And when you get it, make sure you tithe back to the places that feed you spiritually and remind you of these things. Right? When you get connected, you get to come to these places that are here to remind you of the power that lives within you, the God potential that lives within you. So on Friday night, my youngest daughter, who's 16, was in Boulder in the early evening driving with a friend up near CU. She was just going along when her brakes completely went out. She was just hitting the brakes with no response. They literally fell to the ground, and there was absolutely nothing going on for my little girl. When one last time she hit it, the brake came up and it gave her enough to slow it down to be able to turn, and there was a parking spot, and she pulled her emergency brake. And she called my husband, actually, because he's the person that works on all these cars. And this car is not nearly as old as the old cars I drove at 16. I can't even believe something like this could happen to a car. I didn't even know. I mean, really. But the second we heard it, and she was so shook, I just got a hit of my grandma Deering. I mean, she just came to my mind. And it was just so clear. My grandma was watching over her. And when I was pregnant with her, I wanted to name her Charlotte after that grandma. I've always felt this connection between her and my youngest daughter, and she didn't live at all during the years that my daughter's been here. But it was like, we have spirit guides overlooking our children. We have family members. Like the thought, like it was just because, I have to be honest, like when you work in ministry and you're a go-to person in the challenging things in life, we hear a lot of really scary things that happen to kids, right? You're counseling people, so you hear a lot of the really dangerous things in this world. So it's when your child didn't lose their life because of something, the awareness of what could have been is very, very present. And I realized, oh, she's got some really good things to do here. Because I know even greater kids have been taken for something as simple as that. And it's just those small gratitudes that wasn't the end of my life on Friday night. You know what I mean? It's those little things, like even though it's her life saved, it's really recognizing the miracle of miracles when it shows up, that there is some sort of cosmic force that cares, that does actually intervene, it has some sort of knowledge. And I love my 3 kids, but this little one, she's something. They're all perfect. They're all perfect children of God, but this one, she's adorable. She's a beautiful human being. She's a good girl. So it's that. I just share that to be like, you just don't sweep it off of like, oh, well, it's just the brakes went out on a car. Like in major traffic where she could have been in an accident or whatever, or more, right? So, I'm going to share this. What is called divine guidance is a flow of infinite mind. It is a universal in that it is a principle of mind action and not dependent upon a special appeal. It is personal in that it is a process of the presence of the mind that in Matthew 6:8 states that knows what you need before you ask. That knows what you need before you ask. It makes no choice for you, but it is the urge and energy through which you can make the choice that is best in terms of your own consciousness. It is not a special act of God, but a specialization of the omniscience and omni-action of the presence of God. So, when you take that time in silence, just 10 minutes. Obviously, eventually you're going to start to crave to do a lot more. At first, it might feel like torture, right? It's a funny little thing. You're like, okay, well, I've got a lot to do right now, and I'm just going to sit here for 10 minutes because Cynthia just said so. Right? And you're sitting there like the whole time making your shopping list and every 7,000 other things we have to do because I know we're all doing way too much. This society is causing us to have to do way more than humanly possible. And we're all walking around like frazzled. And I'm not exempt of that, right? But the Dalai Lama says when you say you do not have time to meditate, he says you do not have time to not meditate. See? Different perspectives, different views, right? So when we really get that 10 minutes, by being in the presence, we're collectively connecting with this consciousness
We're hardwiring a beauty in our lives so that you'll watch your day go smoother. That you do think and have. You think of calling someone and all of a sudden they call your phone. All of the synchronicities start to reappear. I've been hearing from a lot of people, I'm having a hard time feeling God lately. I hear that all the time. I'm just not feeling that accessibility like I did. And I say, have you been going into the silence? Have you been praying? Have you been meditating? Have you been remembering your divine connection, this divine love? Have you? How many are going into silence every day? Yeah, that's not impressive, folks. You're just too busy, right? Well, I'm going to have the Dalai Lama call you about it. All right. So Edgar Cayce, he's the one documented psychic of all time, lived in the 1900s. Wrote this: we were with God in the beginning, and through choice and experience, we found ourselves cut off from a complete awareness of spirit. In one respect, the fall of humankind was really our descent in consciousness from the realms of infinity to those of time and space. However, this was not necessarily a bad thing or an erroneous choice. Just as a child learns through experience by making choices and even by making mistakes along the way, our own experiences will help our souls to mature. And that process will enable us to come into our full heritage and an awareness of our true spiritual nature. So we came in with this knowledge, and then as we start growing up and we become self-identified, the ego starts to grow. Then we get the cuts and the burns and the hurts from school and people putting us down, and then we start to identify as broken and fragmented. And then, whatever the childhood upbringing of the parents and whatever traumas they lived in, and we take those on, and we just pack ourselves up with all these things, and all of that's separating us from God. And then we go out to college, and it's like, who am I? The big search for who I am. The greatest goal is to know thyself and to love thyself. We really don't attract what we want. We attract who we are. And we radiate out what we feel almost in the worst way about ourselves. That's really what goes out. So a really big deep dive into the silence is to find all the aspects of you, not just the good stuff, but the bad stuff too, and fall in love with yourself regardless. Forgive yourself. Know that everybody makes mistakes. Everybody's cut off from the spiritual universal energy. And claim your birthright as a divine child of God. And when you do, nothing will hurt you or make you afraid or take anything away from you. Nothing can be taken from you when you're in this high consciousness and recognize we're all effed up. We all are. And when you realize that, then you don't feel alone. And we also are divine in potential, universally, and can heal any of it right here, right now. Doesn't that feel good to know that we're all in it together? That's what we all remembered. When we were in COVID, we remembered we were all in that together. It was the first time we were all in a very very serious, dire situation. But we all collectively were in it together. Do you remember the presence when we realized that? Why don't we feel that about all the good too? That all this turmoil, all these things we're going through the consciousness, through the denseness of this political energy, through the denseness of our environment, through the hardship of this world, this timing that we're in, we're all in this together. Let's just be with that for a second. We are all sisters and brothers unto each other, right? So I'm going to take us into meditation. And this is written by my friend Sue Frederick from her book, The Divine Lens. So let's just close our eyes and put both our feet on the ground and just get anchored into Mother Earth. Open our hands and just relax the body and let that pew support you and just let's get into the breath. This breath, God, Source, Spirit, is as close as a breath. Just getting into that in and out breath. And not forcing the breath. Let this breath be the most relaxing breath. You're not shoving the belly big. You're just getting into alignment of your natural breath in and out. What is my lesson today, divine guides, Spirit, Source? What is my task? Help me step into the wisdom of my higher self, no matter what comes my way. Show me where the lessons hide today, so that I may acknowledge them, open my heart to them, and make choices born of wisdom. Help me understand what lies beneath my pain. Teach me to hold my truth in awe. Teach me to see the dance of my ego and separate from it. I'm tired. I'm tired of fighting through painful moments and watching my ego react first. I'm tired. I pray for the instant knowing that comes from my soul's highest truth. I want to be inspired again. I want the divine voice within to be louder than the ego that drives my reactions. Show me how the ego seeks validation instead of acting in alignment with my soul knowing. Show me the ways I can release this ego, this flawed personality, and stand simply as a naked soul with nothing left to say except thank you. And I love you. So we'll go return back to the words of Paul Ferrini at the beginning of this talk where he wrote, I am as close to you as breath. My intention is to bless everyone. I would have each of you know once and for all that you are not guilty, except in your own mind. And that imagined guilt can and must be undone. My teaching is a simple one. I am thought without limitation, for I am ever expanding into the formlessness of the God and the Christ potential within you. There is no form that can contain me. I have joined with you as this God energy, helping forgiveness happen, letting go of the guilt and freeing you of the grievances. They don't belong here. I do not believe that I can be wronged, nor can I believe that you can be wronged, because we are one power, one presence, one purpose, one light. And you are worthy, and you are abundant, and you are capable, and you are my perfect child. So love yourself and share that love with others. I love you. Amen.
Once again, we have freely received, and it's time for us to consider giving back to Unity. And I think most of you are aware of the fact that the giving has diminished for Unity. I don't know what it all has to do with. There's a lot of factors involved, but we need to pick it up in order for us to continue to do what we do. So as a preamble to this particular offering, I have someone here who's been with the church so long, part of the beauty of this consciousness that we share. I'd like her to share a few words about tithing.
So my name is Zolita, and when I got out of the hospital last September, I made a commitment to start tithing, and I tithed all the way till July. And my income picked up, and I was going along just fine. And then in July, I had a big, massive hospital bill due, and so I just decided that I just couldn't afford to tithe anymore, so I just started giving $50 a week, and my income went down, down, down. And then 10 days ago, I made a commitment to start tithing again, and last week, I made $9,000.
Any word from experience is always a very powerful word for most of us. But if you haven't even tried the element of tithing, which is part of the principles that we share in Unity, it's one of the basic founding principles that is in giving you receive. And this applies to every area of your life and also to your finances. So if you were to set up a way of giving in a regular way, you will see the results of that in your own life. That's the proof of it. That's the reason why it is a principle of truth. So today, again, we'd like to give thanks to everybody who's a recurring giver. That's a person that has offers their credit card and have decided a certain amount of money would be given every month to Unity. And it doesn't have to be a lot of money, but it's amount of money that they feel they can afford to tithe at this time. And if you do that, it helps us immensely because it allows us to see how much money we have and how much we're capable of spending in order to do the things we have to do to keep this church operating fully. So if you're thinking about tithing, think about doing a recurring tithe, and you can sign up for that on our website or in our office. You can call Mike or Heather, and we can get you started doing that. So my thanks to all of you that are recurring tithers that are trying to help us climb out of this downfall that we have had for a while. Now we can bring into our minds, into our hands, all the things, all the money, all the financial gratitude we have, and put it into this gift to Unity, and bless it with this offering prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. And so it is. And we have the opportunity to listen to Rebecca Braxis share her most unique and incredible music.
All that we know, all we are, we've been taught is so bizarre, dependent on another force, when all along we've been the source. Who would you be if you knew who you really were? How would you feel if you could own world? What if you could shine the only way you shine and help the world come alive? Ooh, who would you be if you knew who you really were? How would you feel if you could trust your own word? What if you could shine the only way you shine and help the world come alive? Like letting go of the hands that feed them. The children get ready for more freedom. Open to a different way where they always know they're okay. Who would you be if you knew who you really were? How would you feel if you could trust your own word? What What if you could shine the only way you shine and help the world? You help the world come alive. Ooh. Who would you be if you knew who you really were? How would you feel if you could trust your own word? What if you could shine the only way you shine and help the world? You help the world come alive. What would it take for you to like you? I know it can be so hard to do, but what if being all of you? What if being all of you is the world's next breakthrough? Who would you be if you knew who you really were? How would you feel if you could trust your own worth? What if you could shine, shine so bright and help the world come alive? Let's practice come alive. You could just do a little sway to the music and maybe hum. Who would you be if you knew who you really were? Woo! How would you feel if you could trust your own word? What if you could shine the only way you shine and help the world come alive?
Thank you for that wonderful music, Rebecca, today. Appreciate it. All right. Well, we have a potluck after this. Rebecca on Fridays at 6 o'clock holds a sound healing group that happens in the meditation room, so you can come for that from 6 to 7:30. You don't want to miss that. It's very healing, really amazing. 6:30 to 8:15. 6:30 to 8:15, sorry. So you could join that this Friday. We have a prosperity class starting tomorrow. That's been canned. All righty. All right, nobody lets me in on these things. I guess a staff meeting would be good. What do you think?
I think it's perfect.
Okay, God bless it. All right, I'm going to ask the entertainment club to come up here and hold hands. We're going to do Let There Be Peace on Earth from up here. And you guys can stand where you are, and if you choose to hold each other's hands in the pews, go right ahead. And grab that mic if you wouldn't mind pulling that up. And let's get you guys a mic too. Hold on. All right, here we go, band. Let's go.
Thank for God. No